Probably the biggest criticism of Donald Trump's administration, particularly his Department of Justice and Pam Bondi, is the fact that they just seem so weak. I mean, when I say that, I don't mean in their words, but just kind of in their actions. When they say things, it sounds really good. When Donald Trump was running for president, there were all these promises about all these people that were going to go to jail. And I mean, that's not even to mention the fact that just a few weeks ago, Pam Bondi, and this is one of the biggest scandals that really caused me to distrust Pam Bondi a lot more. And I want to preface this by saying, obviously, she's light years ahead of the previous administration of Merrick Garland. I would not trade them for the world. However, we should be able to criticize our own side, okay? I'll be perfectly honest with you. I didn't think Pam Bondi was a great choice to begin with. I was a big fan of Matt Gaetz. I thought he would have been a much better choice. And I will also say I could be wrong. Maybe Pam Bondi is working on things behind the scenes that I had no clue about. And there are things coming. There are arrests coming. But when Pam Bondi said that she had the Epstein files on her desk, got everyone hyped up about this because this is one of the promises of the Trump administration. There was a lot of talk about releasing the Epstein files, the JFK files, and all these other files that have been classified. And we know why these files have been classified, because they implicate some very serious people and some very serious institutions. And this is supposed to be a different administration, the Trump administration. And while it has been different in a lot of ways, there are still a lot of the same games being played by certain actors within Donald Trump's administration. And these actors need to be called out, okay? And I could be wrong, though. Maybe there is a grand scheme. Maybe there is 4D chess going on. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about right here. Mike Davis, he is saying that he met with Pam Bondi. And in fact, there are arrests coming. Yes. Okay, Mike. Okay, let's go. Let's get the arrest. But here's the thing. As much as I like Mike Davis, and, you know, guys, I'm not here just to be a downer to everybody. As much as I like Mike Davis, as much as I like all these people that say all these great things about the Trump administration and what is going to come, what is coming soon, Mike Davis makes a lot of these promises that really, what do they call it? Tickle the ears, right? That make all of the MAGA people be like, yes, I can't wait. I can't wait for Letitia James to go to jail. I can't wait for Anthony Fauci to be gone after criminally in the state courts, or even federally, because who knows? Maybe all these pardons are not even legal because it was Joe Biden's auto pen. And he's kind of one of the ones that he says a lot of really good things, a lot of inflammatory things, a lot of things I am just 100% behind. But at the end of the day, it's like an illusion a lot of times. Most of the times, it's an illusion. However, I mean, it might not be this time. I could be wrong this time. You know, there's this meme, and I'll play this video for you here in a little bit. It's called the Nothing Ever Happens meme. Let's see if I can find it. Nothing Ever Happens meme. Spelled that wrong. Here we go. Nothing Ever Happens meme. This guy right here. Let's see if I can find the actual meme. Okay. I've seen this on X. Let's see if I can find it. Nothing ever happens. It is that guy. I think it's called the Nothing Ever Happens Chud. Let's see if I can look this up. Nothing Ever Happens Chud. Okay, here we go. Oh, we got. Okay, that's okay. Here we go. This guy right here. Nothing ever happens. Okay, and guys, I'm not here to try to blackpill anyone or say that nothing actually never happens, but it seems like this guy right here is always correct. Okay, because every time we hear about something just game changing that's going to happen, or every time we hear these rumors of this or rumors of that, it always seems like a few days down the road, a couple of weeks, we hear of another thing that's going to happen. And this guy is seemingly undefeated almost. It's always nothing ever happens. However, if you want to hear something right now that could possibly happen, according to Mike Davis, I could be wrong about all of this. Okay, guys? I think we do need to criticize the Trump administration. I think we do need to criticize Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. Maybe they're, like I said, maybe they are working on things behind the scenes that we have no clue about. I'm sure they are. But Donald Trump was elected for very specific reasons, right? Deportations, the economy. He's synonymous with speaking truth to power. He rose above all of these, all of this weaponized justice system that went after him. That really resonates with people. So they put a lot of trust in him, and they still have a lot of trust in him. And I still have a lot of trust in him. And that means I want to see these things actively gone after. And some of the people that he picked, I was not so keen on. However, he's the president. He knows better. Okay. So when I see Pam Bondi kind of dragging her feet on these Epstein files, she's kind of been in the background. And it's really odd how she released these so-called Epstein files to begin with. She said she had them on her desk. She went on the media. She said she had them on her desk, sitting on her desk. And then they did this weird release with these influencers. And then they blamed the FBI office, this FBI office in New York. They were withholding these Epstein files. Oh, yeah? Okay. I'm sorry, but, as someone who pays attention to politics, I've been burned by politicians so many times, I can't even count anymore. I'm sorry if I have just a little bit of distrust for that. Okay? But let's get to the point of this, because Mike Davis is now saying, listen, guys, hold up, hold your horses, cut Pam Bondi a little bit more slack because arrests are coming. He said this on Real America's Voice with Steve Bannon, one of my favorites. I am legitimately a massive fan of Steve Bannon. He is one of my favorite. I don't even know if I can call him a personality, but he's one of my favorite. But let's take a look at what Mike Davis is saying, and let's see if it holds any water. Take a listen.
I just had several meetings at the Trump Justice Department. I met with the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, the acting number 3, Chad Mizell, and the incoming number 3, Stanley Woodward. And I want to reassure the War Room posse that they are very much on top of what's happening in our country, right? And just because you're not seeing criminal indictments right now does not mean they're not coming. They are very much coming.
I want you to go back to that team because that's pretty impressive. This is not President Trump's first term Justice Department. Walk through who the players are, starting with Pam.
So Pam Bondi is the Attorney General. She is a rock solid constitutionalist. She's bold. She's fearless. She's not being flashy about what she's doing behind the scenes.
Okay.
She is very much doing things behind the scenes.
Okay. So there you have it, guys. Mike Davis. And like I said, guys, I'm not here to bust on Mike Davis or Pam Bondi necessarily. When someone is in a position of power and they have promised things, I think it's more important to err on the side of criticism. Especially if there are things that just seem like that seem a little bit off. Okay. And he says here, arrests are coming. Don't worry. I met with these people. I met with the players. And while she's not being flashy about all this stuff, arrests are coming. Okay, I'm happy about that. I hope the arrests are coming. Color me a little bit skeptical, but I really hope that arrests are coming because a lot of normal Americans, from our vantage point, we're looking up to the power players, right? The politicians, and like Letitia James says, no one is above the law. Of course, that's a lie. But we're seeing this, and it's like more evident than ever. more obvious than ever that there are specific people that are very much above the law. But you, as a normal person, you get on the wrong side of the law, and this way or that way, and your whole life is screwed. And I think that's why a lot of these people are so focused, are so obsessed with these things like the Epstein files, the JFK files, and of course, some of these arrests for people who just weaponize the justice system willy-nilly against Donald Trump. And they saw Donald Trump as someone who was bold enough and had the balls to actually kind of go that extra mile and say, listen, I'm going to give you guys some justice because it's been too long since these people in power have gotten away with crafting reality like Play-Doh. And then when they make a giant mistake or when they do something completely illegal, skating off into the sunset without any real repercussions that has any like real effect on their life and kind of fading into the background. That's, generally what happens. And they might be in the background for a couple, 2-3 years, and then they come back as a player again. I mean, look at Jack Smith. Jack Smith, the lawyer that went after Donald Trump, the special counsel, Jack Smith. Yeah, that guy. He was the guy who advised, what was her face? I forget her name now. The IRS lady. Help me out here. The IRS lady, way back when the Tea Party was a big thing, he advised her to go after the Tea Party specifically and these conservative groups specifically. They won a whole lawsuit over it. This is Jack Smith. And after all of that situation went down, of course, Jack Smith, he goes away. He goes to The Hague. And he disappears from public life for years. Only to pop back up to go after Donald Trump. And then he's in the paper, he's in the news every single day. It's just like, these people have no shame. These people are almost like, they're like Machiavellian personality psychopaths. And as a normal person, you look at that happening and you're like, why does the law not apply to them? What's going on here? Why are they given like a mile-long leash, but when I speed, I get a ticket that might hurt my pocketbook to the point where I'm going to have problems paying rent, or I'm going to have problems paying my mortgage? What's going on there? Of course, not to mention the whole banking thing where the banks got bailouts. How are the banks getting bailouts? The billionaires getting bailouts, but the regular person, he's got to foot the bill for all this. That was what Donald Trump represents, someone to stick it to these people. And of course, by extension, the people that he put in these cabinet positions and in positions like Attorney General, FBI Director, they are supposed to be his arms. They are supposed to be his hands and feet to enforce his policies, this sentiment that the American people elected Donald Trump over. So when I see Pam Bondi dragging her feet on these things, I got to call it out. I got to question it. And like I said, I always leave room for I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's doing the 4D chess thing. I don't know. Mike Davis said, hold up, things are coming. There are big moves happening very soon. So maybe it could all be happening behind the scenes. I'm not seeing it very much. I'm hearing whispers of things. I'm hearing Mike Davis saying that things are coming. Like I said, Mike Davis says a lot of stuff and it all sounds great. But at the end of the day, Mike Davis, he says a lot of stuff. That's what he does. He makes people feel good. Okay. And every once in a while, I have to just do a reality check, not just on myself, but I have to say it out loud because I'm not just one to carry water for any administration. I'm not just one that says that's just optimistic to a fault. I've got to question things. But what do you guys think? What do you think is going on with Pam Bondi, the Trump administration? Do you think things are going as planned? Do you think there are things that just seem to be moving a little bit slow, or there are things that might be a little bit off? What did you think about the Epstein files are on my desk. And then the excuse about, well, the FBI office in New York is holding it back. What do you think about that? And what do you think about Mike Davis saying that, actually, I met with these players, Pam Bondi and all the rest of them. They are actually doing all this stuff in the background. You're just not seeing it. They're not being flashy about it. I hope so. But what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.